I like King Dedede from Kirby. I thought it would be neat to do a little character review for once instead of a game review. It's a new type of video I've wanted to make, and what better character to start with than one that I'm overly familiar with and one that I really like. My man, the boy, the myth, the legend, Triple D, the king, also known as my boy Dedede. I don't often make videos like this, so I wanted to focus on a character I am really familiar with. And I love him. So let's get right into the character overview. King Dedede's first appearance was in Kirby's Dreamland on the Game Boy, where he served as the antagonist. Being a self-proclaimed king who stole food from the citizens of Dreamland, Kirby would have to journey to King Dedede's castle located on Mount Dedede to face him. Even in the first appearance, King Dedede would have a lot more character and personality than any other bad guy in gaming up to this point would have, as well as having an amazing theme song for the Game Boy. Dedede would also start to go through his character arc when in Kirby's Adventure, Dedede at first appears to be a villain since he broke the Star Rod from the Fountain of Dreams, which made dreams disappear. Once Kirby beats up Dedede and has the rod, we see him beg Kirby to please not put the rod back into the fountain. And we see why, since he was trying to keep this monster known as Nightmare sealed away. This was not only a good twist for the time, but is an interesting characterization for Dedede because this may actually be one of the first cases of a character arc for a villain in a video game. Ever since, King Dedede has more often than not been portrayed as either a heroic character or a rival to Kirby. It's not very often that King Dedede is portrayed as a villain anymore. There's only been a few times where he's portrayed as a straight-up villain, but in every other appearance, he's been possessed or helping Kirby. Like in Dreamland 2, possessed. Dreamland 3, possessed. Kirby 64, possessed. You get the idea. The only other time he's been a villain in a mainline game has been in Superstar Ultra, which was a remake of the original Dreamland. Dedede might be one of the first bad guys in a video game to be given depth like this, and it's continued in later games where he would frequently help Kirby, such as in Kirby 64, Return to Dreamland, and Triple Deluxe, as well as many other times. The only time he's been portrayed as a villain prominently was in the Kirby TV series, which treats Dedede like a one-note villain. But I will say, the voice Dedede has in the English dub is the voice I and pretty much everyone else give him.
That monster been terrorizing us far too long! If anyone can give Kirby the heave-ho, it's you, sire! I'll kick that Kirby to the curb!
King Dedede has a very simple, yet iconic design. He seems to be a penguin of some sort. He's blue and he has a yellow beak that is usually in some type of smile. He has a yellow, white, and red crown, which makes him look a little like Santa, especially with the nice fluffy robe that shares the same color scheme. These are the basic traits that Dedede has in almost all of his designs. However, the way he's drawn and the way he's presented is vastly different from each appearance. This is quite unique for a Nintendo character. Dedede didn't really have a consistent way of being drawn all the way until present day. Like, take a look at some of the designs that Dedede has had in the last 15 years.
Now you die.
The most recent design for him was made recently in Forgotten Land, and it seems to be the design that they're going with since they changed his design in the Return to Dreamland remake to match it. Though time will tell if this design sticks for long, but I will say I do like his Smash design, his Superstar Ultra design, and his Forgotten Land design is pretty solid. It's based off of Kirby 64. Most of these designs are really good, it's just I wish they had settled on one. Altogether, Dedede has a really solid design, and it's important to note that Sakurai, yes, Masahiro Sakurai, wanted him to be the most expressive character on the Game Boy. He cut some really big corners in every part of the game to save data on the cartridge, and you can really see it with all the amazing expressions that he has at the end of normal, extra, and custom mode in the original Dreamland. And that expressive nature is carried over to most of his appearances too, including Right Back At Ya, other Kirby games, and of course, the Dedede design from Smash, which also happens to be my favorite. Another reason I like King Dedede, it's the abundance of amazing themes he has. Starting from the Game Boy all the way to recent times, you can really hear how each game that uses his theme builds upon the original framework. The first Dedede theme was pretty basic, all things considered. It was short and memorable, and good for the Game Boy, but as early as Superstar on the SNES, it was built upon. They added a whole second half to the song, which made it the iconic masterpiece we enjoy today. I really like how this version of the theme has a wind-up that, depending on the game, sounds intimidating and powerful, followed by a build-up of the instruments to give us the first few notes that lead into the rest of the song. It sounds very triumphant a lot of the time, and sometimes heroic, which matches his character. Recently, in Star Allies, we also got another part added to the theme. I don't know how I feel about this part of the song yet, as it's only a few games in, and I haven't really decided how I feel about it as a whole. But it gave us some amazing music in Forgotten Land. I also want to talk about the Masked King Dedede theme. It's only appeared like 3 times. The theme sounds even more heroic than the original theme. It starts with a long trumpet solo, which leads up to the main theme, which is a faster version of it. I can't describe the rest of it since I am no music guy, but I can say that the original context for this song in Kirby Superstar Ultra was amazing. It was enough to send shivers down my spine. You spent the entire stage breaking through Dedede's defenses and reach him to finally accept the challenge that he had given to Kirby at the beginning of the mode. You're in an empty ring with only Bandana D in the background, and a hammer waiting for you to grab it. Like in the Meta Knight fight, actually. He tells you that he wants you to take it since he wants a fair fight. This is the last time in the mainline games that Dedede was an antagonist. This was him trying his hardest to beat Kirby. This being the last game before the modern era of Kirby games was also symbolic for saying goodbye to an era of classic Kirby games. And it also showed his growth into the more helpful Dedede that we see in the modern Kirby era. Say here, listen to a few parts of it. I like the remixes that appear in Forgotten Land and Triple Deluxe. Despite those remixes and games being very good, I think the use of the Masked King Dedede theme was a little bit inappropriate, since that theme, in my opinion, marks Dedede growing and putting his grudges behind him. But that's just my way of thinking on the matter, after all. Feel free to disagree with me and tell me why, of course. I'd love to hear it. All in all, King Dedede is an amazing character who is beloved by many individuals in the Kirby fandom. Seeing a character who has been interesting from the second time he appeared blossom into amazingly deep character is really cool, especially for a rated E game. And what's wild is that he's a villain from a game that came out in the 90s. That's seriously impressive. Honestly, when you look back at other villains from that time, you don't often see them become this interesting. Dedede is a character that had lots of love from both his creators as well as the fandom. I love this character and how stupid he is, and I look forward to how he changes as a whole, because Dedede is a wild character to follow, because he never stays the same for too long, which I kind of find that funny. Like, Meta Knight and Kirby never change, but Dedede always does every couple of games. So, let's see where he goes. I hope you liked this small detour from my usual content. I needed something to make pretty quickly, and this seemed like it would be fun, and it was! I want to do more of these smaller videos, so who knows what comes next. Maybe another character review, maybe another water level video, but for now, thank you for watching. You all have an amazing day.